think about what happens. You take air into your body, which internal structures or parts inside your body fill with air. And what happens to the air after that? So to answer these questions, we're going to move on to find out more about it. And I want you to write your answers in the discussion box under. Have a heart. So the respiratory and circulatory systems are how your body moves oxygen and blood around. Oxygen is a gas in air that your body needs for its basic functions. When you breathe, air enters through your mouth or nose. The air then moves along the trachea to the lungs, where oxygen moves into the bloodstream. The heart pumps oxygen-rich blood to the body through a system of tubes called arteries. Blood is returned to the heart in tubes called veins. So let's focus first on the first sentence, which is the respiratory and circulatory systems are how your body moves oxygen and blood around. So systems, what is a system and what do they mean by our body having systems? So body systems are groups of organs that work together to perform important jobs for the body. Some organs may be part of more than one body system. All body systems are necessary for an organism to be able to survive and reproduce. In today's lesson, we are going to focus on two systems. Like you see here on the screen, we have the respiratory system and circulatory system. So what I want you to do again is take a minute and think about the meaning of these two words. I want you to pause the video and think about the meaning of the words. I want you to break down these two words and see what it might mean. To make it easier for you guys, you might even want to use your French to do so. So, respiratory and circulatory. The reason why I've brought up French into my explication is because respiratory in French, it means respirer, and circulatory is circulation. So respirer means breathe, which means the respiratory system has to do with our breathing, whereas circulation has to do with our blood. That means that this system has to do with something with our blood. So let's find out more about it. So they said oxygen is a gas in the air that your body needs for its basic functions. So now that they're talking about oxygen, it means they're talking about respiratory system. So when you breathe, air enters through your mouth or nose. The air then moves along the trachea to the lungs. What is a trachea? What does a trachea mean? So a trachea is a large tube that conveys air to and from the lungs. Let me show you a picture. So this is the trachea, the white thing you see here. So when we are breathing through our mouth or nose, the air goes to the trachea and then moves to the lungs. So the lungs, so they said the oxygen goes to the lungs, which means, let's go back to our first question, which is, which internal structures or parts inside your body fill with air? So here they answered the first question, which is the lungs. The air then moves along the trachea to the lungs where oxygen moves into the bloodstream. So the organ that fill with air are the lungs, okay? So now the other question is, and what happens to the air after that? And that's the answer. The heart pumps oxygen-rich blood to the body through a system of tubes called arteries. Blood is returned to the heart in tubes called veins. So the oxygen goes to the bloodstreams and then moves all the way to the heart. Arteries and veins are blood vessels that take blood away from the heart to all parts of the body. Let me show you a picture here. These are all veins and arteries, the white things here, okay? So the main question here, they're asking you which is the main organ that pumps blood carrying oxygen through the body. As you might have seen, I've already answered this question, and it is the heart. The heart is the main organ that pumps blood through our body. So the heart and lungs are organs. An organ is a body part An organ is a body part that performs a function. An organ system is a group of organs that work together to do a job for the body. The lungs are the main organs of the respiratory system. The lungs are the main organs of the respiratory system. The heart is the main organ of the circulatory system and is a muscular organ that can be made stronger through exercise. The respiratory system and circulatory system work together to deliver the oxygen needed in the bodies of many animals. Look at this sentence here. The heart is the main organ of the circulatory system and is a muscular organ that can be made stronger through exercise. So this sentence here can help you with the first video we watched in the beginning. The difference between the runners, the slower and faster runners. So remember this. Moving on, let's find out more about the internal structures. First structure we're going to find out more about is a trachea. The next organ we're going to find out more about is lungs.
After the air passes through the trachea, it moves into the bronchi. The bronchi branch into smaller passages called the bronchioles. In the lungs, there are tiny parts shaped like balloons. That is where the oxygen and air moves into the blood.
These are the lungs. Moving on.
Heart. The heart pumps blood through the body. The heart is an organ made mostly of muscle. Blood moves into one of the top parts of the heart. It then moves to one of the bottom parts. Next, blood is pumped to the lungs. In the lungs, oxygen moves from the air into the blood. The blood that is now carrying lots of oxygen returns to the other side of the heart. It moves from the top part to the bottom part. From there, the blood is pumped through the body.
And last but not least is
veins and arteries. Veins and arteries carry blood through the body. They are like tubes through which blood moves. Blood carrying oxygen and other needed materials is pumped by the heart through the arteries. Veins carry blood back to the heart and lungs after materials have been delivered through the body.
Read in 1 hour. Next, calculate and record how many liters of air pass through your lungs in an hour if each breath brings 1 liter of air into the body. So because you're not in the classroom, which means you're not going to find a partner, I want you to ask one of your family members to do this with you. It's whether your mom, your dad, or your sibling. You're going to partner up with them and you're going to do this activity. Once you're done doing it, I want you to write your comments and the answer of the questions in the discussion box below. Pause the video and do the activity. You will take 5 minutes to do it. I will give you 10 minutes to do it. Moving on. What's the difference? There are similarities and differences in the internal structures of animals. Let's explore some of the ways that the circulatory respiratory systems of animals differ. Watch each video. Think about how the internal features of each kind of animal differs from the internal features of other kinds of animals. So let's compare between the animals and their internal structures, especially the circulatory and respiratory structures.
All mammals, like this monkey, have
All mammals, such as these monkeys, have a heart with 4 sections or chambers. They have lungs that take in air. The circulatory and respiratory systems interact to deliver oxygen to different parts of the body in the same way they do in humans.
Next video.
Birds also have a heart with 4 chambers and lungs. The respiratory system of birds includes structures called air sacs. They allow air to move in one direction through a bird's lungs, rather than in and out. This makes a bird's respiratory system more efficient in taking in oxygen than a mammal's respiratory system.
Birds also have lungs and a heart with 4 chambers. The respiratory system of birds includes structures called air sacs. They allow air to move in one direction through a bird's lungs, rather than in and out. This makes a bird's respiratory system more efficient in taking in oxygen than a mammal's respiratory system.
Some reptiles, like this
Some reptiles, such as this crocodile, have a heart with 4 chambers. Their respiratory and circulatory systems interact like those of birds and mammals.
Most other reptiles,
such as this turtle, have a heart with 3 chambers. In a 3-chambered heart, blood that has lots of oxygen.
About these videos where we're going to answer some questions. Let's see. So first, before we do the activity, I want you to compare and contrast between all of these animals that we've seen. So what are the similarities between them? What are the similarities between their internal structures? And what are the differences between their internal structures? Take a minute, pause the video, and I want you to write the answers in the box, discussion box under. Is that I'm going to assign for you work in IXL, and I'm going to share the activities with you, and what I want you to do is answer correctly the questions, and then I'm going to share your grades with you later. If you have any other questions or something is not clear for you, please write it down below that you are still struggling with the information, and I'm going to create a group where we can meet and work on it more. Then I will